That is, unless there's a quick resolution, which right as of now does not seem likely.
GOP Senator Rand Paul vowing to delay the vote and drawing fire from fellow Republican presidential candidates like Rick Santorum.
I'm encouraging everyone to let bill become law, and we can move forward from there.
Santorum on NBC's Meet the Press. Secretary of State John Kerry returning home after breaking his leg in Geneva. Nick Robertson says he was involved in talks with Iran.
It is his own personal relationship with the Iranian Foreign Minister Zarif that has been key and critical in talks up until now.
I'm Michael Toscano. Damage estimates now coming in from the storms which blasted the southern plains. Preliminary figures show the rain and flooding in the Houston area alone will cost at least $45 million. But if you're there, meteorologist John Trout has some good news for you.
For the most part, the central and southern plains rain-free today, and that'll extend for the next several days for areas like Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, and Houston. Drying out, finally.
At least 10 people injured this morning in New York City when mechanical equipment being lifted by a crane at an office building broke free and fell about 28 stories to the sidewalk below.
We're lucky that this piece of equipment didn't fall directly into one of those setback roofs and go through the building.
Assistant New York Fire Chief Ronald Spadafora. None of the injuries considered life-threatening. The average price of gasoline has increased 4 cents a gallon over the past 2 weeks to $2.84, but that's a tiny increase compared to the previous 5 weeks. We may be at the peak for the summer driving season. I'm Michael Toscano.
Johnny wants to be a performer, and everybody knows school costs money. Johnny wants to know what he has to do to become a performer. Plus, he needs experience before he decides to spend the money for school. Johnny's confused. He has no one to talk to about his choices. He then hears an ad on the radio about Media8tor Arts Academy, where he can perform, network, train, and find a place to prepare for school. Johnny has found a place to expand his talents to make his decision and also increase his resume. Now, let's explain how Johnny got signed up. He went online to Media8inc.com and clicked on register. They called him back, asked him what his vision was, then found a place for him to perform. Whether it's theater, music, or movies, as long as Johnny is willing, Media8inc.com is able. And that's the story of how Johnny became a performer through Media8 Arts Academy.
Billionaire Warren Buffett will again try to sell the world's most expensive lunch this week to raise money for a San Francisco charity that helps the poor and homeless. The auction starts today with a $25,000 minimum bid on eBay. Last year, somebody paid more than $2 million to have lunch with Buffett. I hope he picked up the check. Maybe they'll dine al fresco, outside. Being outside apparently affects how we behave.
Using a game that measured players' ability to create sustainable solutions, a group of researchers from Ottawa's Carleton University say those players who were subjected to programs about natural settings, such as the BBC's Planet Earth,
the growing season can last for just 1 month,
tended to focus more on pro-social and sustainable outcomes than those players subjected to city environments. The authors can't totally explain the difference, but speculate it may have something to do with shifting people's preferences, from immediate gratification to larger but more distant payoffs. I'm Scott Carr.
And I'm Michael Toscano.
Have you ever thought about publishing a book, but just didn't know how to do it? Well, at Media8, we try to make publishing simple. You ask questions, we give you answers. You want a book? We find the right option for you to publish. When you need advice about getting your methods out to the world, Media8 is the place to call. Register today at Media8inc.com, where we make ideas seem simple.
Okay. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. It was a nightmare.
Flight 807, you're clear for landing. Runway 7, Bravo. All personnel report to the nearest tornado shelter. This is not a drill. If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
All doctors to the ER. All nurses to the nurses station. Code blue 305. 10-4 engine 5 engine 3 is en route. Shots fired, shots fired. Officer down. I repeat, officer
continue tonight in Marable.
Apartments, you can see this evacuation notice on one door.
Rolling. Motion. Roll on sound. And action.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Ohioans, Americans, welcome to the Media8tor with me, Brian West, and Alicia Sparks.
Hey.
Mr. Leech, are you there on the line?
Absolutely.
Excellent. We got my man, Mr. Leech, the high school principal at East. We almost had a scare here, Mr. Leech. They got me operating the board by myself today.
We're here.
Man, I got a chipped tooth. I had to operate the board by myself. And on top of that, it's been a crazy week. So I'm glad that you embraced us with your presence. We got Sparks in the studios with us. We were going to talk about the life of a high school principal, Mr. Leech. Are you ready for that lovely topic?
Every day.
Good answer.
Now, the thing is, Mr. Leech, is what I want everybody to visualize out there is, what people don't understand is we all have had a principal. Sparks has had a principal. Even in the founding of every student in every classroom, we have to face this person who has all of our lives in their hand. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So tell us about that life that you have right now as being a high school principal, Mr. Leech.
Ooh, in what aspect? There are so many.
Oh, just tell us about maybe your feelings. What made you become a high school principal out of all things?
Well, actually, my intent was not to be in a high school at all. What happened was I had an opportunity to coach boys basketball in high school, which then became the love of being around students and teaching them. I went back and received my certification in teaching in business, and then I began teaching in the classroom. I knew that there were some things that I had to give back, that had been given to me.
Right.
Watching them grow and watching the things that they do and didn't know, I could also give them that information.
Okay.
So that's one of the ways that I started, or that's how I got started in education as a teacher.
Nice.
Now, go ahead, Sparks.
I was going to say, going off of that question, how many years have you been active as a principal?
Oh, active here in Youngstown or at total?
Let's go total.
Yeah, total years of principal has been actually 4 years.
Okay.
This is my first year here in Youngstown.
Wow.
I've been in Cincinnati as well as Dayton area, which is Wayne High School, and Huber Heights. Again, teaching also. So my 4th year.
So do you like it? Do you like the job of being a principal?
Well, it's an adrenaline rush, The job is 24/7. There's down times, which are very rarely.
Right.
But it also keeps you going. It keeps the youth in me.
Is that what it is? Let me tell you, Sparks. I'm in there one day, and he had I think it was a fight in the school, and I watched him.
Oh boy!
I say, man, I wish I can go in there and help him out.
I want to be that guy.
It's just that type of a job. You got to go in there. Most principals say that they enjoy their job.
Right.
They say that they
really like.
Yeah, they got a passion for it. You're the go-to person, and this is your first year as East High's principal. So what are you planning for this school now that you've got the
position?
Yeah. Well, I want to elaborate on that little fight that you talked about also. Right now at East, there was a situation that does occur in schools. Kids get a little aggressive with each other and so forth. But I have to say here at East this year, that has gone down drastically.
Oh, wow, that's major.
The culture and the climate in the school has changed.
How did you do that?
I wouldn't say it's because of me, but what it is, I think, is the love and interest of the kids. You need to listen. You listen to the students a little more.
And then they turn around and respect you.
Yeah. He has, I think you got the survey, too. You got I don't know if too many principals do that, but I think don't you have surveys at these?
Yes, we do have a lot of surveys that we do, but we also want to teach the kids to have a little power themselves. They have a voice in, what happens for them as well.
I will say, Mr. Leech, that I also have a makeup boutique in the Warren area in which I had a few girls come from your school to come get their makeup done for prom. And they were all very, very outstanding, very classy, very, very well-groomed and well-put-together females. So you must be doing something right.
Well, let's just say I hope so, but it appears to be doing well, and we're continuing to get better. Again, it's really the students, and once they realize there's some things that they really have to put their best foot forward, to be honest,
right,
and make some sacrifices and things like that. So,
and you know what else I noticed too, Mr. Leech, is when Victor, you seem to have a level playing ball field with the teachers too. There seems to be some communication there, because when I had met Victor, I met him through Media8tor, and it's the person who's in charge that allows people to come in throughout the community. So how's that going with the relationship with the teachers? Like, is it like an open door policy? Do they make suggestions, and do you just say yes or no? How does that work out?
Well, I think we're getting better at that. It is an open door policy, and that's for staff and students. I think we're getting better at that. But my main goal and concentration this year was actually to change that climate that was in the building.
Okay.
And that's really with the students first, to get them in class, to get them more interested in what they're doing and with their school. It's been a bad title that's been over East, from what I've understood when I got here, that, East was not a very good school, teachers weren't good, students weren't good. Well, that is not quite the truth.
Yeah.
There are issues, there have been issues, and they're getting better. Again, I think it was just, a lot of things that happen outside of the school that influences East, no jobs in the area, things like that really have more effect.
Okay.
That, from outside than inside. So I just try to refocus them on that, and it's been so far so good.
So now you're talking about the atmosphere outside the school. Do you still see that hunger for knowledge in the students?
Well, I think the students want to learn. I mean, that's always been. I mean, a child, if you will, and I use that term loosely. A student wants to learn. They want to be led. They want to be taught. So that has never changed, and I think we sometimes have lost sight of that. Through these years somehow, that they're still kids.
Yeah.
So
they try to do some things that are out of character for them,
right,
from what they hear on videos, and so forth. But just try to help refocus them, and it may take a little longer. If you had kids, you have to tell them 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 times before they'll get it. Through the system.
Now, you seem to. One thing I've learned about East is you run like so you brought the auditorium back to life. I mean, I'm not saying you, but I'm not going to give you all the credit, but a lot of people had to do with that.
I should get all that credit.
Oh, well, I'm going to give you all the credit there, Mr. Leech. So I mean, you've been able to delegate and just pretty much get things in order. I mean, I'm not saying because one thing I've learned about when you start giving people credit is a lot of pressure. I don't want you to feel pressure, but you are going in there and you're giving the time, and you're not going to make everybody happy. So you seem to be managing that very well at East. Like you said, I was raised in Youngstown, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, there was once upon a time where I was in the school and people were lighting off firecrackers in the hallway. So
wow.
So you come in there, and so how are you communicating with the parents, Mr. Leech?
Well, the parents, I do get to interact with them many different ways. We usually have a few meetings that the parents are allowed to come in. We have student parent conferences, but the door is open anytime they want. We also have a parent liaison, this clean scale, that also has contact with parents. So we try to have meetings and different activities for parents to come in. A couple of things I've set up in the future that I'm trying to get in place is actually a community center actually in the school that a parent can come and actually be involved with the use of computers if they don't have one at home.
Right.
For example,
oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Check up on their students' grades and things like that. So that's one of the things that I want to try to initiate, actually working on it, but we'll see how that goes. But again, the community is, there's open to a lot of activities also, even with the auditorium now. We've had a couple of dance recitals that Miss Lindsay has also done, and as you know. So those things we're having choir performances now. They haven't had those in 6 years or so.
Yeah.
Students are loving it. So right now we expect that choir thing to actually grow drastically, and I mean really next year. So again, that's the goal.
And this is a team effort that's happening in Youngstown. It's not just happening in Youngstown, but I think a lot of people are starting to realize how important it is when it comes to domestic issues, when it comes to just the local schools and people getting involved in the local community. And I think that's what's happening in the environment of Youngstown. It's happening in a lot of people's lives, because you watch all the stuff happening on TV, you watch the wars and how people are trying to delegate Congress, and everybody's trying to be a leader, be the chief. And this is one reason why I do like, my mom asks me sometimes, she says, why do you keep going up east? I say I just like it. It feels like, when I get in there, I talk to the kids. They seem to have fun. When we started the media group, they seem to have a good time, and that's what I like about the spirit right now. You know what I'm saying, Sparks?
It's a culture.
I wouldn't say it's a culture. I think it's just a spirit moving. I mean, Mr. Leech is a guy. He's a godly man. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now, they have a lot of new rules.
I want to mention that you also have been a part of the development of some of the things that we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So again, they're receptive to you as well. I mean, you've shown them some things as far as media is concerned, and it's kind of helped them, volunteer your time. So, folks should hear that as well.
Well, I have a lot of passion for, I think we all do. That's why I say when you came in there, I think that there's been some prayers answered probably because Youngstown, what a lot of people don't know is that Youngstown city schools have got a rich history, Sparks, you ran track at Warren Harding. Just that environment, that Trumbull Mahoning Valley. We've had some key players come out. You had Maurice Claret come out. My buddy, I know you don't, it's all right. He was in your school, He
was.
Don't be shy over there, Sparks. Sparks ran track. I was a track athlete. My school career got damaged when they started switching things around. I think it was when Hawthorne had came in. Now Hawthorne is leaving. So now that you guys are looking for a new superintendent, what do you think the future holds?
Well, again, I don't base it on what superintendent. No disrespect to our superintendents or any superintendent, but what we do with our students is my main concern.
Yeah.
So again, everybody has their roles and responsibilities. So again, I don't base it on the superintendent. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that any superintendent that comes in, has a goal. I mean, they have some things they want to get done.
Right.
So they're all different. But again, whatever goal they're trying to reach is a good one. I mean, most of them are good. You can't say they're all wrong. So it's just maybe the different type of leadership. But I want to also go back when you mentioned the track. You guys ran track. Right now, East will be going to the state. We have going to the state. Yes, sir.
I was so scared.
Definitely want to mention that. And do they have a chance of winning? Absolutely.
That's right.
Amen.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
So, Principal Leech.
So it'll be a shout out. And the best part about it is there's some sacrifice that these young men have done because right now they're graduating. See, there are high school graduates this year. Now, the graduation is the same day that they need to be going to the
that is amazing.
Wow.
Now, but the good thing about that is they know they'll be graduating.
Right.
The better part of it is that they sacrificed
the graduation.
They want to go. You know what I mean? They know how important graduation is.
Right.
They know it, but at the same time, they also want to show their abilities and show the things that they can do.
And reaching for their goals.
You know what, Mr. Leech? I'm going to tell you a story before Sparks gets her question off. And this is why when I went to the track meet, I had some flashbacks because I think in 1999, Cheney, this would have been, this is like what I'm saying, this is revelation. Sometimes I think, when we were, I think it was 1998, I gave up my chance to go to state. I let somebody else run on the relay. And then in 1999, I think the guy we had lost, and we lost because we had they let an injured player run. So now that you told me that you guys made the state, I might even take the trip down there if I can. Hopefully I can. So go ahead,
Support
Sparks.
Them,
that
huh?
is
Give
amazing. Go ahead and give your question, Sparks.
I know you were talking about giving the students another outlet as far as developing their creativity outside of school and giving them, another light and another visual as to things that they can do on a positive side. So my question is, what are some of your expectations for the future that you have? I know you were speaking on behalf of the superintendent, but as far as you have, what do you see the school doing in the next 10 years? What are some future expectations that you have?
10 years. Now, what's her name again?
My name is Alicia.
Alicia. Oh.
Even if you're not there in the next 10 years, what do you see for the school? What is something that you want to leave behind or you want to set fire to still be moving in the next 10 years?
Well, I really all I want to do is set this pace for students to realize that they're in control of their own destiny at this point. There's some things that they have to do. You know, I mean, there's things that no matter what anybody says, no matter anybody plants in the ear, you have a lot of time to actually do work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Read more. I've left them to read more.
Oh, that's good.
I've left them, to understand that if you read more, that is knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Right.
They talk about the power they always want to have. They talk about the respect that they'd like to get. But the only way you're going to get that is by getting it and also learning. You have to learn. If you're not reading something, you're not learning anything.
Right.
You know, I mean, yes, there's basic life things that you learn, common sense things, but there's much more to experience.
Right.
If you read.
So what do you think is changing? I mean, what do you think has changed? I mean, from the generation, like I told you, my generation, I've seen some things change. Spark's generations may see some things change. And from your time when you were in school, what do you think has changed?
Oh my goodness. I mean. Well, I'm proud of my age, and I'm proud of where I came from and all those things. And no, it wasn't easy for me either. But coming through school, I had to respect my house, and that was my parents.
Right.
First of all, so if they said no or they said yes, I had to follow those without question.
Right.
Because they were the parents, they were the adults. They had been where I was going.
Right.
So and I think. Letting students know also that your parents also want you to be better, if you will, than they were.
Right.
So even if you were a doctor, that doctor wants his son or daughter to be better.
Right.
So no matter what level of education, no matter what level of life that you come from, your parents want you to be better. And if the students realize that, they should pay claim to that. I mean, nobody's perfect.
So,
we all make mistakes.
Right.
But from those mistakes, you learn and you continue.
So what about those children out there or the students out there who really don't have that home support or whose parents aren't really in their lives? Do you come in contact with those children often? And if you do, what do you have to say for them? Or
well,
to them?
I have to tell you, you still have to, that's when you have to pull something out of yourself. You know what you want. If you think if you set a goal, for example, you don't like where you live.
Right.
The only way you can change it is develop that plan of how you're going to get out of where you are.
Yes.
So once you develop that plan, say, hey, well, I don't like where I am. I know I like cars. I like money. I like peace. I like all those things. How do you get that? You establish that plan. So, well, I know I have to finish school.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my first step is, okay, finishing school.
Right.
Now, you'll break it down in more details about getting to school, being on time,
right,
doing your homework, and all those things come with that. But your goal is to get your high school diploma.
Right.
Now, if you want to go further, then you set it up for college. But again, you have to start there on the bigger things like, well, I know I have to graduate.
Yeah.
And then now you figure out what you need to do to graduate.
Right.
What are the requirements? What do I need to do? Do I need A's, B's, C's, D's, F's? What do I need to do?
Right.
And once you establish that, the classes that you have, that you enroll in, and what do you need to do? I mean, bottom line. Do I need to write these reports?
Right.
You find out what is necessary and you get it done. Nobody stops you from doing that. It's like being an athlete.
It's yourself, right.
An athlete, if they don't practice their craft, they're not going to be good.
And you're not going to get any better.
So tell us, now talk about that a little bit, about that. Because now, tell us how, first we'll explain the structure of the school. Like you have the teachers, what's the chain of the command like in school? Talk a little bit about that. What's the chain of command like? How does it work?
Well, if you talk about that, we'll start with the parent student, how you want to. Well, I'll go from the principal down. Let's do it that way.
Okay.
There's a principal, then there's assistant principals, then there's our teachers. Again, and then we have staff people, which generally help. Then we have our students. Again, students, they are the important part of it, but they're important. They can talk to any adult in the building.
Okay.
that's also the support for them.
Yeah.
They can help them on certain matters, but most of them, they will have to take to it the teacher first and then administrators second.
All right, so basically that's how it's structured. Like whenever there's a grievance between, so why do you think parents do you let the parents know that there is a chain of command when they come into the school? Because I notice in a lot of leadership roles, when I was and served and when I was in school, most people don't know the chain of command, like who to go to first. I think some people just want to go straight to the principal, but sometimes, you've got a lot of stuff to manage. So how do you manage that as a principal?
Well, honestly, I take the calls, I take the visits. I don't, whether it takes me from something or not, and whether that's wrong or right, I always try to take the call or that visit.
Yeah.
One, I want to let the parent know that I am there and I do care about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Two, I try to look at it as though when I was a parent, hey, I need you to talk to me.
Right.
Now, I don't think we do a great job at letting parents know that chain of command per se. Mm-hmm. But I think that everyone always wants to talk, to the boss.
Yeah.
Because they figure it'll be completed,
right.
Whatever will be rectified immediately.
Right, straight to the point.
That's not always true either. So, in most cases, in our building, our administrators, they all usually deal with a certain grade levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They may be, they know a lot of the students at those levels. So I try to direct them to them most of the time, but sometimes they insist they'd rather talk to me first.
Right.
Yeah.
So that has happened, but I always bring that administrator in also.
That's smart.
I don't eliminate them.
So, Mr. Principal Leech, as far as college goes, I know you were speaking about that beforehand, but I want to go back to that. As far as college goes, do you have any type of programs or after-school situations that students can come and look into different colleges and figure out the procedure as to how to apply to schools or, know about grants and loans? Is there any?
Absolutely.
Okay, explain that to me.
Absolutely.
What do you have?
Right now, we do have one program that's called Upward Bound, which is...
I went to Upward Bound.
I did too.
And see? So
Yeah.
we still have...
That is
also,
awesome.
We have a group from YSU. It's called AmeriCorps, and what they are there for is to help students register for college, find out what colleges they want to, find out the requirements, whether it's grade level, grade points, GPAs, and so forth, and what those requirements are to even apply for colleges.
That's awesome.
They will walk them through every step up to and not ending at applying.
Right.
Even with the results and even with the tests they need to take. So we have, as a matter of fact, we have two ladies that were there, actually 3 this year, that were there on certain days of the week, which was also mentioned.
Right.
So we do have people. Also, the counselors do that as well. So
I'm so happy to hear Upward Bound even exists anymore. It was such a inspirational part of my life coming up, just knowing what to expect with college, being on a college campus, even during the summertime. It definitely, makes students that are getting ready to go into college a little bit less fearful of the whole entire procedure.
Let me give a quick tagline real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll listen to The Mediator with Brian West and Alicia Sparks. If you want to donate to the program, we are currently getting our 501c3 for our academy. So if your donation does not go in vain, you can donate to the program at Method8inc.com. Go ahead, Sparks. I'll let you say it one time.
Method8inc.com.
That's the number 8.
The number 8.
You can donate. Most of our donations to the program goes towards helping out, just everything that we do, mediation, letting people come on the program, doing our research, and going and providing for the field of entertainment and the arts. We have our friend, Mr. Leech, on the line today. It's been an amazing week. I've had a chance and opportunity to go and work with him at the school. He is talking about the life of a high school principal, and it's been an amazing day. We've seen thunderstorms in the city. We've seen rain, and I chipped my tooth coming in this morning. I seen all hell break loose on earth. But me and Sparks made it into the studio, and we got Mr. Leech on the line. It was rough. Sparks made it into the studio, and we got Mr. Leech on the line. It was rough, but we did it, right?
We're here.
The board got stuck.
But we're here.
So now, Mr. Leech, man, you're doing you're coming in there, and you're seeing a lot of things that your generation was not capable of doing, but this generation is. Now, the one thing I've noticed is when my sister, when she had to go to school, when she didn't see her diploma at graduation, she had a fit. So now they have all this no child left behind and things like that, and I think Washington is cracking down. The federal government is trying to crack down on schools not making the grade. So tell us about what happens when those students do not make the grade. Is there summer programs, or what are you guys doing at East?
Well, there's different types of programs depending on what the circumstance is. I mean, every situation may be different, so it's a case by case. But some of the things that may be more common now than others is the ODT. There's a lot of issues or concerns about that when students don't pass all 5 parts and so on.
Right.
Most of the time we end up, there may be 1 or 2 parts that they can get. Sometimes the scores are close, sometimes they're not. But there's different programs. For example, this year we had intervention for those who didn't pass, whether it be a sophomore or up to a senior, that they can actually have intervention, some training, some teaching about the OGT, as well as retake it again in June. Now, the seniors that didn't pass would have an opportunity to take it, I believe it's in June, so that they may
still graduate.
Possibly also receive their diploma.
That's
so
good.
all is not lost. However, but I would like to stress that in order to avoid those situations, you have to prepare. So, and I'm not saying they didn't prepare, but I think we have to do a better job, even as students, to prepare for those things that we know that count for our graduation.
And one thing I did notice, Mr. Leech, is this was very, this is one thing when I saw this at the school that made me kind of touched, and I think, now what happens when a principal either loses a student or he finds out that something happens to where a student may get pregnant or something happens that just is not on the plan? What happens, and I seen you manage that situation, and I think every day I come in at school, I think about the person who had lost their life. So how does that happen? I mean, what do you do in situations like that?
Well, I mean, I only did what I knew how to do in the sense of just out of respect of, I thought of the young lady as my daughter, what I would want. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was I knew the young lady, and I think most of the students, there were a lot of students that did, because of just her presence. You know what I mean, and how she dealt with a lot of things were far beyond what people even really realize. But the young lady, again, I just wanted to give respect to her and her family as far as
that was
for what was going on with her. So I did some things that I would expect that someone else
to do for you in that situation.
So, and that's how I looked at it. But I knew that we still had a responsibility at school to talk with kids, with teachers, because again, they're all affected by it.
Right.
It is.
What their walk is, you know what I mean? Even if they didn't know, or it was an incident that happened, that occurred at their school. And so they are going to feel some sort of a way.
And you know what's amazing about that, Mr. Leach, is the inner city school system. Some people, some teachers, especially interns and practicing teachers, I've heard them try to criticize and say, well, I don't want to go there. But I saw these kids come together, Sparks, and it was like I think that moved me because I was a part of the same school system, and they came together.
Unified.
It was very beautiful, and they carried on the next day.
Wow.
They've had bomb threats at East. They've seen some of the most amazing, craziest things happen there. And teachers are getting in fights, but these teachers come in there and they do their job.
Every day.
And they don't. And that's why I say I put my hat off to you, because I've seen you in the hallways, man. Sometimes he looks like he's like, oh my God, what's going to happen next?
Could be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it is, and they spend hours, and this is the teachers is unionized. So And I don't think they ever. I don't think you can get paid enough. You know what I'm saying? To do that. So
no, I agree.
So I do take my hat off to you, Mr. Leech. Now we're down. We got quite a bit more time. Before I can open up the mic to you and what you got, some of your thoughts. But a few more questions we have here for you is like now every school system operates on a different level of ball and field. Like they all have a different style. Like. One may be centered towards the arts. One may be centered towards the sports program. What are you doing differently at East that makes East stand out now, and that things are kind of dying down in the sports environment?
Well, you put me in a situation on that question only because there's
I don't want to reveal all your.
Trying to want the cat out of the bag here.
Right.
What I'll say is though, East really hasn't had an identity here the past few years because of a lot of the changes that have been occurring. At least, again, from what I've been told. So we're working toward the business end of things. However, there's some other things that are in the works, as you know, especially start dealing with media. So we're definitely working on the media end. We're definitely working on the choir end of things as in musicals and such and such. So
nice.
We have, I think Cheney has that, but we're looking at it a different way. So we're not going to be like Cheney or some of the other schools. We're looking more on the production side, if you will, of that entertainment. So, such as you all, things that you all do, for example, with the media, with the television, the radio, those kind of things. So that's one of the goals that we want to also embark on and see the other side of students, because right now students are engulfed, if you will, in music. They love music. You hear that, you have headphones. You see everything in their ears.
Right.
And we want to go there, and since it exists, we might as well take advantage of that and show them what they can do with it. Not so much as, I won't say for evil things, but for things that are not productive for them. We want them to find some things that they can work with that will help them be successful in the community.
So, Principal Leech, I have a question for you.
Sure.
As far as
have a lot of questions.
I'm the question-orientated girl.
Called the mediator.
That's what I do.
This is what we do. This is what we do.
But my questions are always all positive, so you have nothing to be afraid of. So going back to, giving them something and instilling something in them, farther past beyond education, anything that is recreational. I know for a fact that when I was in school, we had something like that, which was called WSCN. And it was basically a class where students would go and we would produce a show. We would film the show. We would go and report the show, and then everybody in the whole school for about 5 minutes would have to stop and watch the announcements through our show. And that was what got me interested into broadcasting and all of that. So
How did you get my notes?
You didn't have to agree.
Sparks is undercover. You got to watch Sparks.
I am.
She's undercover.
So going back into that, my question is, what are some qualifications for anyone that would be interested in not only just teaching, but also in being a principal? What are some qualifications that they would have to go through in order to become a principal of your level or your stature?
Oh, that's easy. Anyone can do it.
Oh, anybody can be a principal?
So I can be a principal.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. There are a few things you do have to do.
Okay.
One, you definitely have to have your master's degree.
Okay.
You have to also complete what they call a principal's leadership school, which again is more hours, 45 to 60 hours of education as well, just on principal leadership, instruction, curriculum, collaboration, all different areas. Also, with that being said, then you must be able to find a position.
Right.
Most of the time, there's some opportunities in some areas that you can come in, step in as a teacher, and
work your way up.
To sit in that role.
Okay.
Fortunately for me, I had that opportunity to do that.
Right.
As a teacher, and also as an interim, to become interim also.
Right.
On a full-time basis, temporarily. So I had those opportunities.
That's good, and you need that in order to even know what you're doing.
Now, Yeah, because I would say you don't feel the as you release and talk about the atmosphere of being, you don't feel the therapy, the relief to come on, because we feel good about what you're doing, and we wanted you to have an avenue. So I was thinking about that when you were talking about sparks and the questions. Are you all right with us asking questions, Mr. Leech?
Of course he is. That's why he's on the show.
I want to make sure he's all right, man, because
any question, I'll tell you what, be honest with you, any question you ask me, I don't have a problem.
Okay, I want to make sure, because I want to make sure you're all right. I got big plans. I want to see every morning announcements. I'm gonna say that there he goes right there. He did my show. I'm gonna be so confident.
You don't want to ask. I was just teasing her because she'd say, "Hey, I have a question."
I have a question. I have a
wanted
question.
to feel like she was neglected.
Well, you got to meet Sparks. Sparks, she's got a Rhythm Nation hat on today, and Sparks is so. See, I tell everybody about Sparks every show. I got to remind people. Sparks is one of a kind. She's like this bright little flower. Every time you see her, everybody want to bless her, Mr. Lee. We was leaving. We just came in the studio today, and the man he says, here, take my card. Sparks only.
He gives it to me.
He doesn't give it to me. He gives it to Sparks.
And I don't know anything about running the boards at all, but he did that.
And I guess that's why I zoomed in and said, "Hey, you have a lot of questions."
I do. I want to know details. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
So
hey, perfect.
It is. I'm about that life. I'm a detailed person. So.
And now she's telling her, "Hey, I'm about that life."
Yeah, I'm about that life. I'm definitely about that life.
All right, good. But no questions. Hey, no balls. Hey, no problem.
Good. I would expect that from you as a principal, because if I came to you as your student, I would ask you anything, and I need you to be ready. So
he's on fire.
There we go. And you are. You're doing it.
We got a big question for you now, though. You ready for this one?
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Spark.
Actually, this one isn't that big either.
It's not that big, but go ahead.
Give us an idea of what your daily routine looks like. Your beginning of your day, the middle of your day, the end of your day. What is that like? Because as the student or as a parent, we see the principal, and then, we don't see the principal. And then if you get invited into the principal's office, it's not always on good terms.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what does your day entail in and out as far as your routine goes?
Yeah, how's your routine?
Well, when you say routine, that's one of those, that's a proper way to put
it. Right.
But there's no real routine. And when I say that, and I don't mean that there's not things that I have to do and address, but every day is totally different. What happens tomorrow morning doesn't happen on Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I noticed when I was there. That's crazy. So you don't have like a set. You don't have like a set routine. There's no routine at all.
Drink my coffee. Have a morning meeting. What?
Right. You do those things. Usually, those misunderstand. There are schedules that you try to follow.
Right. Right.
And there's some that you have to do, and there's some that that can be flexible depending on how important that situation or that circumstance is.
Yeah, but you just never know.
Start out. Well, I can tell you this. I'll tell you what my routine is. If you really want to know.
I do.
I start out the morning when I arrive between 6:30 and 7 in the morning, and then I leave whenever. Now that's my routine.
I get it.
Because the only thing I can promise you is that I'm there in the morning, and I'm going to leave sometime in the evening.
Right.
Now what time that is, I can't tell you.
Got it.
Again, if I plan on 5. Unless I have a very important meeting that I have to attend, that doesn't mean I'm going to be on time always.
Right.
That doesn't mean
there's things that have to be tended to.
All right, Mr. Leech, I'm about to ask you the big question. I'm gonna let you finish. Tell us about it. Just get ready for the big question. This is the question I had to show Sparks this question. That's why it was so big. But keep going about your daily routine.
No,
it ain't got nothing to do with no money. But this is probably gonna be the hardest question I ask a public school principal. But go ahead, keep going about your daily. Or let me just now when you fix your tie and you get ready for your daily routine, keep going about your daily routine. I'm just letting you know. Get ready.
Okay, but we start up in the morning again. You meet with your administrators, try to see what's going on through that morning,
right?
And get ready for the kids to come in. You've got a thought of how you're going to go through the day,
right?
Whether you have meetings set up and so forth. But once the kids start coming in, you come in. I try to greet as many as I can in the mornings, in the morning and so forth, because that I find is far more important than people think. just by saying good morning to a student.
Right.
You don't know what issues they've had that morning, last night, or whatever.
Right.
And try to set that stage for them to have a good day.
That's
and
awesome.
Also, you can be aware of any kind of issues or situations that may occur because of someone with a not feeling good or may have a negative attitude. There's your chance to pull them aside and talk a little bit. Hey, what's going on? You need anything? Do you need help?
Right. That makes a difference.
So,
it does. It definitely makes a difference.
And I think that helped a great deal. So,
right.
Most of the administrators in the building do that.
All right. So, Mr. Leech, tell us now. Now, when I was in school, Sparks was in school, we get these invitations from private schools.
I attended private school.
Yeah, they say, hey, you have something that we want. Could you come to our school? We'll give you a scholarship. Now, you are the principal of a public school. What do you feel about that with these private schools when they come to the public? Do you think that is a good thing that they're able to offer students? But would you like to see those students stay at the public school?
Well, all I can say is everyone has a right to do and offer and do those things that way. I mean, because I believe if I was a part of that system, I would do the same thing.
Oh, you would?
That's a good answer.
Wow. So, why? But
again, it's more of opportunity. So you try to give opportunity. So there's a couple ways you can look at it.
Oh,
and I'm looking at it as an opportunity for that student.
Right.
Yeah.
And it may be a better case, and I think it's a case by case also in what the student is trying to achieve in a parent. So, again, with the parents being involved in that, what is best for that student?
Right.
There are some students that will shine in that particular role, whereas they wouldn't at East. You know what I mean? Or any other public school. So,
I was going to say,
the judge would decide I couldn't do that.
Why is that? Why do you think that's so critical, Mr. Leech? Why? I mean, I was a product of the public school system, and there's a lot of people who are very well accomplished individuals who come from the public school systems. But
absolutely. So
now I think there's that, because when I was at East and I'm talking to the students, and we're sharing thoughts, and it's almost like, okay, you have people raised. I'll give you a situation. Okay, when I had to go to Cheney, I got transferred from school system to school system. It's almost, I felt that distance because I wasn't around all my friends. I had to go into a strange environment, and I had to be rebuilt. And sometimes teachers can have pride, like Cheney at that particular time had pride against Woodrow Wilson. Well, we have a different curriculum here, and Woodrow Wilson isn't even a school. So you see that there, Why do you think that is? Especially right now, when you're talking about young people's lives here, that is a big factor when it comes to public and private schools, and even the fact about, even when you talk about prayer and people's lifestyles. Why do you think that's a big thing, the cultural difference?
Well, I think one of it is a competition. I mean, it really is. It hasn't changed from many years ago. I mean, when I was coming up, it was Catholic schools.
Right.
They were out recruiting kids and doing things like that also. So, it's always been around. I think now more so than ever because of a lot of concerns of schools not performing where maybe they think they should.
Right.
A lot of different things in the area that changes those schools. But again, I don't have a problem with it. Only because, again, if you know your students and the parents know their kids, there's certain environments that they have to be in, and certain ones that can't handle that.
Right.
So, again, to me, it's a case by case. There's some people that students will shine. And I've seen it where a student went to another school and they're doing fantastic.
That's awesome.
But they couldn't do it at East.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Where they come from Cheney and they couldn't do it at Cheney, but they come to East and they're doing fine.
Right.
So I don't know whether it's the buy-in from the student or the parents or what. All I know is that the kid is getting
what they need.
They're growing and they're prospering. So to me, whatever it takes to make that student prosper, let it happen.
Spoken like a true wise principal. I know for myself, I attended parochial school from the age of kindergarten all the way up until the 6th grade, and then switched over to public school because my parents wanted me to know both sides of the street. And I really, really can appreciate that, because when it was time for me to go into college and get integrated into society, I felt balanced. I felt like I knew a little bit of both sides. And, you know, a lot of other people that I went to school with, they all did the same thing, and you know, they became balanced. And there were some people that could handle that structure in the private school, and then there were some others that couldn't, and they needed a different type of environment in order to learn. So, you know, to each his own. And I definitely commend you for saying that, because it is about the individuals, their parents, and how they're you know, being formed to go whichever direction that they go in. I have seen plenty of you know, student athletes that I went to school with that were amazing in public school, and then the private school would come in and offer them scholarships because they wanted them, you know, to help beef up their sports. Or I seen other academic scholars that were in private school that they weren't getting what they would have got in the public schools, as far as, you know, the college courses that are offered and things of that nature. So, you know, it is a balanced scale. I definitely agree with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give a quick tag. You're listening to The Media with Brian West and Alicia Sparks. We are in serious, deep conversation with the principal of East High School, Mr. Leech. If you want to donate to the program, you can donate at method8inc.com. It's a smooth, calm, collective day here in the state of Ohio and Pennsylvania. The rain is out, the clouds are out, so the sun is resting today.
It is.
But we are talking to Mr. Leech. He is telling us about the life of a high school principal. If you want to donate to the program, again, that is method8inc.com. Mr. Leech, we're down to the last few minutes, and I want to vouch for you, my friend. I want to give my services as much as I can as a product of the Youngstown City School System. I want to extend my full credibility. But one thing I do want to talk about is we saw the movie Lean on Me. And
wow,
we've all saw it. We've seen the principal. We've seen great Americans come out and make movies about teachers.
Yes.
When I was at East, I saw the movie Stand and Deliver in the CD case. So these teachers are getting ready. They're ready for a fight. I seen the Waiting for Superman sign when I came into the school. Youngstown is getting ready for a productive fight. I mean,
love it.
If Hawthorne wants to leave the school district, like I said, them teachers are ready.
Right.
I came into the school system. Mr. Victor Arsenio is asking me questions. They want to see. The students were amped up. I mean, I'm telling you, Spark, it is magical.
That's good.
Youngstown is
like a fire.
It is, and
That's
I see
really
Mr. Leech in there, and he's got his sheriff, the deputies behind and everything.
He's ready.
And I mean, they want to see. They want to make the grade.
So, Mr. Leech, what do you do as far as, you know, going back to Lean on Me? You know, since we're gonna go there, you know, the teachers and the principals. Right.
East High School.
What a picture to paint. As you know, when you watch the movie, you see the compassion, and you see the rage, and you see the principals and the teachers that care so much, so worked up. So my question is, what do you do on the weekends to rejuvenate your life? Like, what do you do
Get ready.
before Sunday night? Okay, like Friday afternoon, the weekend. You know, when you have some. I know, I don't know what it is either, but to those, you know, principals that are out there, and you don't have to go on the job that day and deal with students or deal with the teachers, what is your off day like, if you even have one? What do you recreationally like to do to just clear your mind?
She's asking one of those personal questions.
Well, I'm about to hit a home run here. I'm gonna let you answer that one.
I'm just joking, but really, sometimes, I mean, I have a daughter, 2 daughters, and a son that live in actually Dayton. So I actually go back and see them from time to time and kick it with them a little bit.
Nice.
Try to, you know, get my views or my rest, if you will.
Good.
And then sometimes I just stay here and chill at home.
Nice.
You know, I don't go out a lot, so.
Okay.
You try and keep
it. There's always work to do.
Right.
You know, there's never. Well, I'll tell you this: there's never work not to be done.
Right.
Now that's only the downside of it. Sometimes, you know,
somebody's got to do it.
Expect it to be, and I guess it's probably part of my fault. because I guess I never want to just stop doing something.
Right.
So again, that's not that the job requires. It sometimes is what I require of myself. So I put more pressure on myself than probably that I need to. Because I want things to work. I want things to be better. You know?
Well, the reason why she asked that question, because usually in the last 10 minutes we open up the floor to the guest, and my question for your personal question is, what is your favorite? Since you're a principal, what is your favorite school movie? What
Really?
gives? Yeah, well, I want to know.
You know, it's the ultimate. I mean,
It is.
It's the best.
Every time,
it's the best that's been made to this date. I will say that.
Yeah, because I think it's when you get those school movies. Maybe I'll make a school movie someday.
You
should.
But that'd be a good idea.
Make it at East High School.
If they allow me to, I got the tools. I mean, it doesn't take much for me to get a production going.
You should do it.
I will. I'll knock a script out in 2 weeks.
And you know why you should do it? The same reason why they made Lean on Me. You know, when I watched Lean on Me, I was still young, and I was in private school, so I didn't even know what that life was about. I had no idea. So you should make it for those people that are out there that have no idea that life really is like this.
It is.
And to let them know, you know, hey, you might want to donate your time, your money, your efforts into making this a better community. So I get it.
It was funny is he got it. Mr. Donahue's your assistant principal, right?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Donahue, let me tell you, it's so comical. I love the culture there because Mr. Donahue, he was my civics teacher back when I was. So he comes. I went to a baseball game, and he comes riding in on his Harley. You know, he looks like Santa.
Boy, he's that guy.
He comes to the game for a few seconds. You know, clapped a few hands, and then he was back out.
I'm out. I made my appearance.
Like, you know what it's like. That's it. I've been here. I've been doing this too long. I'm just gonna come.
I'm here.
Yeah,
and I'm out.
Even if we win it, I'm just gonna leave. And but
it gets like that sometimes. You know, if you do a lot, you know what I mean.
Right.
You know, I've been to football games, volleyball games, basketball games. You know, and I'll have to say that I was surprised that a parent would come to me or a student would tell me, hey, you know, we haven't seen principals here before.
At the games,
we haven't seen that.
Right.
And I was really taken back on that, you know. And I know we're busy, and I know that.
That is amazing.
At the same time,
it is awesome, though.
Interact and meet some parents.
Right.
I mean, you know, out of your element, out of school. You know what I mean? It's a little different atmosphere when you see them in that light.
It really is.
Another side.
It really is, and it makes whoever is playing, it makes them feel good. They're like, we're good enough to have our principal here. You know, it really stirs up the school spirit, and because I remember at all of our games, my principals were always there. They might have had walkie-talkies in their hands, and they might have been clowning over the mic to each other, but they were there, and I remember that, and that made everybody else want to be there, and the parents want to be there. So
my captain, he came to our flag football games when I was in the military, so that was real inspiring.
That's big.
So last question real quick, we got about 3 minutes left in the program, well 2 actually. One question I have for you real quick, Mr. Leech, has any kids had come back to you over the course of your 4 years and said anything great?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, well, when you say great, I mean, I could name you a bunch of folks that I didn't even know, but I mean, again, it's not so much you know, me, it's them. Norris Cole used to play for Miami Heat. Now I believe he's with Oklahoma or someone. He was one of my students at Dunbar High School in Dayton also. There was, oh my God, Baxter Miller in Ohio State.
Oh, he's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of mine at Hubert Heights at Wayne. So again, I mean, I could do some name dropping, but the important part of it is that any student at any time can do whatever they wish.
That's right.
I mean, they have to practice whatever that crap, whatever it is they want to do. If they want to be and we keep saying doctors, we keep saying lawyers,
right?
But you know, you can be a president of a company, you can be the vice president of a company,
scientist,
whatever it is that you wish. A bank, I mean, you know, you get bank manager, whatever it is that you choose,
you can do it.
You need to study that crap. You need to find out and read and talk to people that are actually involved in that craft.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for doing the program, Mr. Leech.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for tuning to the Mediator with Brian West and Alicia Sparks.
That's right.
We are going to head back to the city in this crucial thunderstorm. Thank you so much, Mr. Leech. Have yourself a good week.
Happy Sunday.
And,
30 seconds.
God bless everybody. God bless you. What do you say?
I got 30 seconds. I want to challenge everyone to contribute $50 to Method 8. For you.
God bless you, Mr. Leech. Have a good week.
do it.
Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to The Mediator.
Thank you.
Listening to News Talk 790 WPIC, Sharon Hermitage, a Cumulus station, sponsored by the Ridgewood at Shenango Valley, a premier senior living residence.